Okay, you welcome back to my channel, and the topic we are talking about is models in microeconomics. Models in microeconomics, and we are continuing from where we stopped after discussing the meaning of model, the types of models. So we are going straight to the process of modeling, and in the process of modeling, there are four stages involved. There are four stages involved. The first stage is the formulation of the problem. This stage is very crucial as it involves the process of knowing the problem you are interested in solving. So you want to provide solution to a particular problem. For instance, how income affect quantity demanded. How income affect quantity demanded of a commodity. Now you may begin by selecting a particular commodity and selecting different consumers of that commodity, different consumers of that commodity with varying degree of income level. By this, you are trying to establish how these different consumers behave at different income level. So this is one way of formulating a problem. So once you have identified this, you tend to bring the available information, the data you've gathered, different consumers, different income level, and their corresponding or their respective quantity demanded of a particular commodity, say milk. So now this is how you formulate the problem. Another problem that I can use as an example is, for instance, students' performance in in economics. Now you discover that a lot of students are not performing very well in economics. So you want to know what are the causes, what are the factors that affect this performance. So you can end up uh, itemizing variety of possible causes. Maybe the distance of the student's resident from the school, maybe factors like uh, textbook ownership, whether the student have textbook or not. What about factors like whether the teacher uh, it's qualified or not, or teacher's qualification? When you are taught by an NC, a HND, a BSc, BEd, MSc, MED, PhD, does it affect the performance? If you are taught by different lecturer with different qualification, or does the qualification of lecturer matter in the performance of a student in economics? What about the student's parents, parental involvement? Are the parents supportive or not? Does it count? What about the classroom size? What about the methodology of teaching? Now, these are all factors that can possibly affect student performance in economics. What about attendance, class attendance? Does the student attend class? These are a whole lot of factors. So these are how you go about formulating the problem, or the problem. So having discussed this, you develop a model, which is the second stage. You develop a suitable model which will show the relationship that exists between these variables and the economic performance in economic test, or performance in economics. Now, in our discussion, student performance in economics is a dependent variable. Is a dependent variable, while all these factors that affect the student performance in economics are independent variables. So whether there is a textbook or not, it will now affect the dependent variable. So you can establish the relationship. in this way, in this example, it could be it's a linear relationship that has direct effect. It's either there is a textbook or not, and it is expected to have certain kind of effect. If there is textbook, it's expected to have certain effect. If doesn't, it's expected to have certain effect. So this is how you develop model. So having developed the model, the next stage is the verification and validation of the formulated model. When you have formulated your model, you go ahead to verify it, which means put in data in the variables. You impute data in the variables and then run your analysis to come up with a finding. Now, if these findings are arrived at, if this model produce a finding, you may try to implement the findings, or you may recommend implementation of this finding, which is the final stage. Because once you've verified this model, it means it conforms with theory, it conforms with existing theories, and the solutions can be applied. So that is the final stage. You apply the solution or implement the solution. So what do you do at this stage? Maybe after running your analysis based on the data you have, you discover that out of the 35 students, economic students, 20 have economic textbooks. Now that 20 that have economics textbook, 18 of them pass economics. So with this kind of finding, it becomes conclusive that economics textbook is important, is an important factor that determines the performance of a student in economics, that determines the performance of a student in economics. These are the 4 stages involved in model building and its application. Now, we go straight to the uses of model. Models are useful in variety of areas to an individual, to firm, and to the government. To an individual, a good knowledge of model building or model building and its application will help you to acquire logical and sequential thinking ability. You no longer involve in haphazard thinking, uncoordinated analysis. You try to establish cause and effect. You try to put factors that affect or that contribute to certain things or to certain outcome. You put them in place. In other words, it becomes more easier for you to effectively determine results from or outcome from available information. You can even make prediction because you can sequentially construct causes and effects. What leads to the other, how this leads to the other, how this can cause this, how that can cause that. Models helps in pedagogical processes, which is teaching and learning. It simplifies the teaching process and the learning process as well. So when you look at the way we have come in this course so far, we have used simple models to make our learning easier. So that is another advantage or use of models. Then models is also useful for policy analysis. For policy analysis, models are applied in various policy construct and analysis. Sometimes you want to make a policy for the agricultural sector, you need to run some models using the available information you get to see how this policy will be effective. Remember, in the types of models, we did mention about um, we did mention programming model, which is used by organizations and firms for optimization process. In the same way, these models are also used by government for planning process. Some of these models include linear programming model and input-output analysis, the IO model. The fourth importance is for forecasting and prediction. Model helps it or makes it possible for economists to make sound prediction and forecast. You can tell what you can predict most likely for certainty how the economic participant will behave in the next 1 month or 1 week. You can predict how the economic variables will look like in the next 1 month. With a good knowledge of models and its application, issues of exchange rate can be predicted and forecasted. Inflation predicted and forecasted. And those who involve in forex trading, buying of foreign exchange and things like that, uses the knowledge of model building and its application to make the predictions that will earn them great profit. So model is very relevant in both microeconomics and macroeconomics. So in summary, models are mathematical representation of economic abstract with symbols and notations. 6 types of models were identified: verbal, mathematical, programming, accounting, physical, and economic models. 4 processes are involved, or stages are involved in model building: the formulation stage, development stage, verification and validation stage, implementation stage. And the uses of models are summarized as follows: for logical reasoning, teaching and learning, policy analysis, prediction, and forecasting. We have come to the end of this session on models in microeconomics. Please, if you find this video interesting and you've been able to acquire a new knowledge from this video, kindly share this video to other students in other institutions and anyone who have the love for economics as a course, and subscribe to the channel for more of these videos. Thank you very much and remain blessed.